Frank Luntz is a Republican strategist, CBS News political contributor, friend of the program, and joins me now to discuss that which we just saw. But before we discuss that which we just saw, I'd like to discuss one participant whom we didn't see in the clip, a woman who had agreed to participate, and then
she pulled out, and she pulled out because she heard of the gentleman who was choked out on the 6th subway line here in New York for wearing a Trump hat. And she was afraid for her own security and particularly for her children. And she sends an email saying, "I'm sorry, I know I agreed to come, but I can't. I'm too afraid." And I talked to her a couple times to get her to voice that concern on television. And I'm sorry that it was cut out, and I hope that we can, through the miracle of CBSN, show viewers what that is. I want them to come back like 6 hours from now so they could see her sitting down and explaining what she's afraid of, because we heard that again and again among this group. I know that the protests are all the Clinton people saying, "I can't believe Donald Trump got elected." Well, the Trump people are nervous and afraid for their own safety and security because of this anger that's been whipped up over the last week.
And that's it. Time and again, this last year plus, we've heard about the anger that was tapped. Now that the anger was tapped successfully by Donald Trump, there is a sense now, and we saw it there, I would argue, of what to do with it.
And exactly, and they're waiting for Donald Trump to lead them. 2 points. Number one is that they're prepared to allow Trump to compromise on immigration. They'll allow him to compromise on trade. They'll allow him to compromise even on Hillary Clinton. That he doesn't want to prosecute her. And they didn't like that he said they're good people.
Well, we're going to play some clips, and I did want to ask you about that because I wondered how it would play in a certain room. But let's begin. The first thing I do want to play of the clips we're going to play is a question about special interest groups that our Leslie Stahl had for the president-elect. And again, the higher the red line goes, the more the group likes what they heard.
Correct.
Let's play the first one.
Your own transition team is filled with lobbyists.
It's the only people you have down there.
You have lobbyists from Verizon. You have lobbyists from the oil gas industry.
Sure.
You have food lobby.
Everybody's a lobbyist down there. That's what they are. They're lobbyists. They're special
on your
interests.
own transition
We're trying
team.
to clean up Washington. Look,
how can you clean
everything down there? There are no people. They're all people that work. That's the problem with the system. The system right now. We're going to clean it up. We're having restrictions on foreign money coming in. We're going to put on term limits, which a lot of people aren't happy about, but we're putting on term limits. We're doing a lot of things to clean up the system.
So as long as they're cleaning up the system, they'll accept the use of the system temporarily. Mm-hmm. This was a surprise for me. I thought of all the things that Trump people disliked, it was lobbyists. Like, once they got elected, it was the lobbyists who would be in trouble. No. If that's what it takes to, at least initially, staff a government and choose the right people, Trump voters are prepared to accept that.
And it showed a skill in pivoting, if nothing else, in that answer, because Leslie certainly walked him, I believe, to that plateau.
Yes, she walked him to the abyss, and he refused to jump.
He just stared into it. The next one, you mentioned it, the charge he made during the election that he would appoint a special prosecutor to continue to investigate Hillary Clinton. It was presumed when she was president, Hillary Clinton. Leslie asked him about this, and here was the answer.
Well, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to think about it. I feel that I want to focus on jobs. I want to focus on health care. I want to focus on the border and immigration and doing a really great immigration bill. We want to have a great immigration bill. And I want to focus on all of these other things that we've been talking about and get the country straightened away.
So what we missed there is about 15 seconds later, he says about Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton that they're good people. And he clearly doesn't want to continue the idea of a prosecution. And when he described them as good people, then the lines went down. Then the reaction was negative. But of our 18 people, 16 of them accepted him, saying that he did not want to continue the prosecution. Only 2 of them emphasized the importance of accountability, including the Clintons.
The woman we heard at the beginning of the clip that we first played upon your introduction seemed to suggest that even as the anger has gotten us perhaps collectively to where we are now, that this is the Donald Trump that they hope he will become. I mean, it was something we've heard about the Clintons. It's something he said about Barack Obama sitting in the same room with him just last week.
3 words: get it done. Yeah. That's what they're looking for, not ideology. It's about change, and it's about actually accomplishing something.
Well, if there's one thing then for the president-elect to get done, it would be the cornerstone of his campaign invoked the day he threw his hat into the ring, immigration, his plan for it. Here was the question and his answer.
Are you really going to build a wall?
Yes.
They're talking about a fence in the Republican Congress.
Sure.
Would you accept a fence?
For certain areas I would, but certain areas the wall is more appropriate. I'm very good at this. This is called construction. But
So part
a
wall,
fence would
part
be,
fence?
Yeah, it could be. There could be some fencing.
A steep climb there. That's a straight line up.
Yes, and by the way, they don't care if it's a wall or a fence. They don't care if it's man-made, if it's physical, or it's technological. What they want is border security, and they want it now. And they don't want any holes in that border security because they believe that American sovereignty depends on it and America's security. And so as long as Donald Trump is talking about the ultimate objective of securing that border, of enforcement of immigration laws, they're prepared to accept a little move, a little pivot.
Well, that would arguably be a big one, considering he would repeatedly state that not only were we going to build a big, beautiful wall, we were going to have Mexico pay for it. And I wonder, is this an example, too, Frank, of the disconnect that we heard his supporters took him seriously, not literally, and we, the media, for instance, took him seriously, but not literally, or took him literally, but not seriously? Is this a snapshot of that disconnect?
It's a snapshot of exactly what people have been saying now for 2 decades, which is set aside the ideology, set aside the talk, and do it. Work with both sides, agree to jettison 5% here and 5% there, and get it done. He's doing exactly what Trump voters would want him to do, which is shaving off the difficult stuff in return for actually getting what they're looking for: border security, economic security, a sense of Washington being put on trial, but not the Clintons. We're going to hold them accountable, but we're not going to do it in an extreme way.
I want to get you out here on this one, and I realize you've been doing this a long time, and that perhaps the idea of surprise is something you professionally can't allow yourself, but in this group, the groups that we've seen in such a surreal and remarkable election cycle, were you surprised by any of this?
My surprise is not the groups. My surprise is the media. My surprise is after all this time, I get looks like this can't possibly be happening. I get people who say to me, no, but they don't understand. No, you all don't understand. And I have been unsuccessful to too great a degree in connecting the desire and the will of the people to those who report the news, to those who make the news, and to those who the news is made about them. There is such a total disconnect between the 3% that run the country and the other 97% who live in it. And I got to figure that one out, because if I can't, then everybody won't calm down. Everybody won't sit in a room together and actually get it done. So please, help me.
Okay. Help me help you.
Help me, yes.
Yeah. When you figure it out, the seat's waiting, as always.
But it's a little cold this morning.
Okay, apologies. Ryan will get on that.
Literally.
As always, we appreciate it.
Thank you.